Hello and welcome to Rage Quit. My name is Jay and today I want to talk about Warcry. What a surprise. But we've had a couple of potential leaks, so we might have had the prices. They were possibly leaked a couple of days ago. And now possibly the kinds of units that are in each of the non-chaos factions, which may or may not be true, what have you, but we'll get there. There's also been 2 articles since I last was on, so we'll go through those as well. If at the end of this video you like, do press like. And if you're not subscribed yet and you're interested in Warcry, etc., do please do so, as it really does help. So we'll get to the prices and stuff like that, but we will go through the order of articles. So yesterday there was an unboxing article, which I think I tried to make a video on, but I didn't record the audio for whatever reason. I don't know if the cable just came out, but I failed miserably. It just shows all the sprues and that kind of stuff. So if you're really interested in getting up close and personal and looking at the model counts and that kind of stuff, so there's like 8 models there. I think 9 models in that one, plus he's flying the creaturey things. The terrain is looking exceptional. I'm trying to go quickly because I am very much aware there is a lot to squeeze in. The board's very happy with the double-sided board. The battle plans are looking cool. It sort of looks a little bit like Star Wars Legion, in that you've got like deployment, twist, and how you get your victory, and then maybe the terrain setup. Just talks about the core book there. And then you get your fighter and ability card, so you need these to play. And this shows you the kinds of models you can have, what kinds of units there are in your faction, and these are sort of like abilities. So this means that it's 1 point, and this means it's 2 points, and you have to have that rune ability. And then it goes through this whole list of what they are. A lot of them are self-explanatory, so like we'll go from number 1, what kind of model is it? 2, the faction. 3, the movement. 4, the toughness. 5, the wounds. Very high wound count, but they talk about that in a few videos. 6 is how many points it is. 7 and 12 are the weapons. 8 is the range, so there are ranged attacks, so 1 will be like 1 inch away, and 3 will be like 3 inches away. 9 is how many attacks you do. 10 is the strength of the weapon, and 11 is on the left, it's how much you do in a normal hit. The right side of that number has been confirmed to be how much damage you do if you crit. And 13 is the rune marker. You'll see that sort of skull with the flame corresponds to the ability there at the bottom, which I don't know if you can see. You can see. Tokens, we saw that. Fine. Shall we look at the iron golems? No, let's look at the iron golems. So this has been leaked today. I say leaked today, revealed today. It's not really a leak because, I mean, this shows you a faction that we've had, so this gives at least one of the models away, I would guess, for the Nighthaunt. They're tough. It just goes into more detail about them. There's 9 kinds of fighters. They hit hard, and then we get some more cards, which is the most interesting thing here. The Augur Breacher guy looks super solid. Like, he's 235 points, and if we're going for 1,000 points, he's literally nearly a quarter of your army. 4 movement, 5 toughness, 30 wounds, which sounds insane, and he's got a fist. I guess that means 1 range, I think 2 attacks, 6 strength, and then 4, and then 8 wounds if he crits. So yeah, but the strength of 8, damage of 4, 8 on a critical hit. The drill masters are sort of, I think, more your standardy. Well, no, the Iron Legionnaires are your standard guys. These sort of like in between. You can see that I'm not going to go through every single stat there, but you can see that. And then these guys are your more basic stats at 8, basic guys at 80. But they do say here that with a shield, and they do talk about building them in specific ways. Somewhere I can't find it. Building them in specific ways, which does sort of mean, you know, if you decide to run a Legionnaire without a shield, you might have to magnetize it. If you really want to have that option. We'll see if that's possible. We don't really know right now, obviously, but we will see. And then it talks about key abilities. Now, this is one of the more interesting systems. The initiative system, essentially, you're going to roll. It's a bit complicated. I don't really like it. I don't like how complicated it is, but it actually seems good, if that makes sense. So you're going to roll 6 dice. Any dice that aren't duplicated are singles. So if you only roll 1 3 out of the 6, that's a single. You can see these are singles because they're not in this entire red pool. And so he's got 3 singles, and then he's got a 3 power ability. So the ones that are duplicated are like a strength of the ability. I forgot what they called it here. Doubles, triples, or quads. So basically in this he's got 3 singles and a triple. Whereas in this one, the purple dude is going to lose the initiative because the initiative is whoever gets the highest singles. But he is going to have a quadruple and a double. So it should balance itself out. The person who goes first will often not have as many abilities as the person who goes second. Now, the worst case here is that, you know, this person got 3 singles and this one would get 2, in which case they would only have a slight like the advantage would not be very big, but somebody would be going first nonetheless. So that's interesting. It talks about the abilities. I'm not going to go too much into them because I don't want to. There's other things to talk about, and we're already 5 minutes into this video. So let's go with picture number 1. These are the UK costs. These might not be right. Apparently this is from Tales of a Tabletop Skirmisher. Don't really know too much about that. If these are wrong, don't hate me. Anything from this point on that isn't official GW speculation could easily be wrong. But we sort of already, this has been rumoured before, start at 100 quid. Some people saying 120, maybe. That fits in line with Kill Team. You can probably get it at like Element Games for 80. Rulebook 20, 25 quid, makes sense. The Cypher Lord faction, which is probably 8 or 9 models, £25. That's pretty solid. I actually think that's going to be a reasonably decent position financially. Now, the problem I have, if you want to buy everything separately, you're going to have to buy the rule book and then buy your battle plan cards and then buy your faction deck. So you're already going to be quite high on the list, right? But the battle plans that you're going to need, well, if you're playing against somebody you technically wouldn't need them, they're 12 quid. The faction deck's really cheap at 5 quid. That seems pretty decent. The Garden of More scenery set, I mean, apparently this is a repackaged deal and may not be the best deal. Carry case 20 quid, Brewer 10 quid, fine. Then there is this, people talking about it will be $170 in the US. Not sure if that's confirmed. I don't know if that's, I don't even know where that rumor's from, but I just wanted to get it out there. And then the thing that really interests me is the potential of what units are in what faction. Again, don't go ahead and buy these because these might not be right. So if these aren't right and you buy them, do not hold this guy responsible. Okay, right? Happy? Now, I don't know too much about Age of Sigmar. It's not a game I've really been interested in, so I'm coming in this from like almost an outsider at this point. Yeah, Fantasy was a long, long time ago, and a lot of the names have changed, etc. So I only know a little bit here. But for anybody, this might be useful for. Like, I'm very much considering an Iron Jaws faction, simply because that is likely to. There's not that many core units or anything, is there? So that's likely to be true anyway, and I might be able to speed paint those guys within a couple of weeks. So I might try that. I'm not sure what would be the cheapest factions here. Probably the Stormcast Eternals, I would guess at this point, because you can get them quite easily. But then again, I looked at the models for them the other day, and it was like 30 quid for 5. I was like, nope. Yeah, so if there's anyone, the Savage Orcs for the Bone Splitters, very simple in choice there, not gonna lie. Let me know what you think right now would be the cheapest one to get into, and I'll look into it and I might even buy it. So yes, there's a lot there, isn't there? There is a lot. As I said, price wise, I think price wise that is expected and fine. If you already own the models, how much are you paying? You're paying 37 plus your faction. You're looking at 42. You're looking at £42 if you already own the models, and then you wouldn't have anything to play on, so you would need to have a board. Maybe if you already have a Kill Team board, or if you're like me, I've got like an MDF sheet cut out to the size of some Kill Team boards. It's possible. If you're going to take that to an event, fine. I think you might want a board, unless you're going to play in stores where people will have boards. I think price-wise, that's fine. Not going to comment too much on the US one. I don't know how true that is or what that is. And these are the units. Again, I don't really know too much about these, but I'm going to have a look into each of these factions and see what models I like and which ones I don't like. And then maybe buy one, because that's what I'm going to do. And these, I mean, the actual faction focus is actually pretty interesting. Did we learn too much here? Yeah, we've learned what the cards do. I think, you know, it's nice to have it confirmed, even though we sort of were expecting that. The battle plan card seemed like a really good idea. It's like a expanded version of the Star Wars Legion deck, which is cool. Not really sure how much difference you can have there. The one thing I would say is that the twist on that one is like when you take a wound, you get an extra attack and an extra strength, which is yikes. That could be interesting. And these guys, I said, this guy just looks like an absolute beast. What a beast! They talk in the video that well, there is no video here. It's on it's on YouTube. They talk in the video that the number of guys will be somewhere between 6 and 12 on average. I think is what he said, like a dozen, half a dozen. Yeah, which sort of makes sense. I mean, technically you could run 4 of those guys and you'd probably be there, but whether or not you're going to have a certain amount of Iron Legionnaires, don't know. And another thing that we've not really spoke about too much is the wounds. I think having like 15 wounds, almost, well, this guy's got 10 as a basic guy, but then he's got 15, so 10 plus is like average. That's going to change the way that the game plays, in the sense that instead of the game being, oh, I lost because of a lucky hit on 2 guys, they're dead, the game is going to feel a little bit more like you've got a lot more agency through the game, a lot more strategic and planning. The downside to that is that it could possibly extend the game, because, you know, when you look at Star Wars Legion, there's only 40 wounds on the board sometimes, whereas in this there's going to be 40 wounds on the board. But they seem to balance that out with, it's a high number of wounds, also a high number of damage from a lot of different like sources, 2 attacks at damage 3 or whatever. So like, we'll have to wait and see how that plays, but I think the goal there is to not drag out the game, but to limit the variance of like random crits and stuff like that, even though they are doing exploding 8s essentially, so kind of 6s, but they're doing, you know, crits at double damage. But it's to just give you a bit more playtime and strategy in the game, like, oh, I'm struggling here, I'll need to get somebody in here, or maybe they're going to come here. It gives you time where it's like, oh, I got shot from 4 squares away, from 4 inches away, I got 1 wound, I'm dead. It changes that. How realistic is it to have 10 wounds? It don't really matter. Like, D&D has got that kind of system, hasn't it? And I think the initiative and the ability dice, I'm going to give that a win. Initially when I saw it, I was like, oh, it's a bit complex for no real reason. But the fact that it's going to balance out, whoever gets first is generally going to have less of the abilities, and whoever goes second is going to generally have more. I think mathematically that has to be the case, but I'm not a very smart man, so don't trust me there. All in all, pretty exciting stuff. I still think it's looking fantastic. My wallet's not going to enjoy it because I'm going to go broke, but that's the same. That's the same all the time, isn't it? If you're interested in Warcry, subscribe. If you liked me rambling about it, like, and have a most beautiful day. Goodbye.